Hello class, so another important concept you're going to have to understand is light logic. And light logic is a study of how light logically falls on objects to create lights and shadows. Okay, and it's going to be really important for when you do your monochromatic still life. Okay, because it's through value that you could create the illusion of three-dimensional form. Okay, what makes something look 3D? What makes it pop out from the page and appear to have volume? Okay, so the most basic breakdown within light logic between lights and shadows. So lights are formed where light hits an object directly. Okay, so right here, as well as right here. Shadows are formed on areas untouched by direct light. Okay, where the light hits indirectly. Right here. So light still falls on shadows. It just doesn't hit it directly. Okay, it hits surfaces and bounces back up and hits the shadow section. Okay, and the shadow section is darker than the light section. There's also other parts of the lights, just as there are other parts of the shadows. So within the lights, the lightest part is the highlight, right here. And there's the halftones, which is a little bit darker and around the highlight. So the light is not the same, the light section is not the same value all the way across. And value is how light or dark something is. Okay, now what separates the lights from the shadow is the shadow line. Okay, it's an imaginary line that runs across and separates the lights from the shadows. And in some cases, this line is really soft, okay, depending on the light quality, the type of light that's hitting it, if it's diffused or not. And sometimes this light, the shadow line is really sharp, okay, or sharper. So pay attention to that and describe it as you see it. Okay, and within the shadows, there are smaller parts as well. Okay, and the shadow on the object is called the form shadow, and the shadow where light is being blocked from each another surface is called the cast shadow. Okay, within the form shadow, there's the shadow core, and that's the darkest part of the shadow. It's right here. Okay, and then there's reflected light. So that's where light hits a surface and bounces back up onto the object. It makes a visibly lighter section. Now this section right here shouldn't be lighter than anything on the light side. Sometimes people make this too light. And the reason it shouldn't be lighter than anything on the light section is because it's indirect light. It's bouncing off a surface and hitting back up on here. Whereas everything on the light section is hit directly. Okay, now within the cast shadow, the darkest section is right beneath the object, right here. Okay, and then it gets lighter, farther away from the object, as well as the shadow becoming softer. Okay, the edge becomes softer the farther away from the object. Okay, and the shape of the shadow is affected by the direction of the light. If the light's directly above the object, okay, you're going to get a small little shadow below it. If the light's over here, it's going to cast a longer shadow. So the reason we're studying light logic is for you to help to see these aspects within the object. But you always want to paint what you see. So it just helps you look for it, but if you don't see it, then don't paint it.